Hi Greedy 3Ders, welcome to today's episode. I'm sorry about the noise. This is a working little man cave today because we're making a brand new Catwoman kissing Batman model. It's a brand new one for 2023, just been commissioned to me to paint it and make it and show you guys it before you can get your sticky little hands on it. So we've got some printing going on in the old Anycubic Mono, we've got some printing going on there in the Viper, all Batman things. Now Batman wise, who's your favourite Batman? Do you like Adam West? Do you like Michael Keaton? Do you like Val Kilmer? Do you like the new guy from the Twilight series? I know he's not my cup of tea, but mine is Michael Keaton. I think it was an absolute classic, but that's just my opinion. Now if I asked you who your favourite Catwoman was, it's a much smaller list, and for me it's going to be Michelle Pfeiffer all the way. So today we've got something really special for you, a Michael Keaton and Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman Batman bust. It's absolutely lovely. I'll put the links where you can get it from in the description. By the time you look at this first video, now this first video is going to be how I've created it, how I've printed it and how I've cleaned it. We're not going to do any more than that on this first video. It's going to be a little bit of a teaser, but stay tuned to Greedy 3D and make sure you subscribe, because we're going to put the painting videos on very, very soon, and you are going to be gobsmacked how wonderful this 3D print is, and you soon can get your sticky little grubby prints on it. Now don't forget, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget we've got a Greedy 3D Patreon, and please have a look at that. All the links are in the item description, and of course if you want to buy anything from the channel, you can buy things from an Amazon affiliate link, and a little bit will kick back to me and allow me to carry on doing this wonderful hobby and showing you guys everything that's going on. Hope you enjoy what you see today, and stay tuned for some Batman magic. So this is the orientation that I've used. I've tried to keep the supports off the main areas, so off Batman's front and off Catwoman's back. And don't forget, hollow them out, add some holes in for drainage. Really, really important. Okay, so load one is done. Let's get it off the printer. Have a quick look at it. Okay, so there we go. There's load one of Batman and Catwoman. Oh, it's all come out wonderfully. Okay, so first thing we need to do is get it off the build plate. Best way to get it off the build plate here is to get your scraper with the printer. It's a nice sharp scraper, and if you've done it properly and if all the settings are okay, oh, it should just pop off like that. There we go, wonderful. So let's get the rest off. So that's everything off the build plate. What I'll do next is just get the build plate and give it a little bit of a wipe over. Now it's really important you don't leave any resin on your build plate. So make sure that it is completely smooth. If you leave resin on your build plate, you put it back into the printer, those little bits of resin will pierce your FEP, and you do not want that. So make sure it's nice and clean. Once that's nice and clean, let's get it back in the printer. Now one thing that I always do when I finish the print is I just take the plastic scraper that came with the printer, and I just literally very, very lightly run it across, just to make sure there's nothing stuck on my FEP. You don't have to do this. This is just something I do. Very, very gently as to not damage the FEP. I'm going to need a little bit more resin. I'm just using the Anycubic standard grey here, and I'm going to give it a bit of a shake. I've already agitated the resin that's in there by sort of stirring it through, so I'm just going to top the resin up now with this. Topping it up to the fill line. Don't put too much in, you do not want it overspilling. Lid goes back on. Don't get resin all over your screen. Okay, so we're looking for Batman 2. Where are you, Batman 2? Batman 1. Batman 2. And away we go. As noisy as it is, we'll commence. Forgive the noise on this video. I've got that printing there, and I've got that printing some parts of it there also. So now we are back to the main Batman model, and I want to get the supports off. Now the way that I find getting these supports off really well, especially when they're quite cold, they will just pop off normally, but if they don't pop off, and this one has really easily, If they don't pop off, just pop a hairdryer on them just to heat them up a little bit, and that will do the trick. Same again with this one here. Nice and easy. Now this one's a little bit stiffer, so I'm going to give this a blast with the hairdryer. Okay, so now they're off and I've put them into the cage for my mercury clean station here. And I've got some alcohol in there. It's dirty alcohol, which is absolutely fine. I am going to give them a double wash. I'm going to pop them into the alcohol, make sure they're well submerged, and I'm going to put the lid on. And I'm going to give them around about 3 or 4 minutes just in the mercury wash station there. It's really important you get the resin off your models. You do not want resin on or in your models, and there's a couple of things we're going to do to make sure that happens. Now what I have here is nice clean resin. Shiny, sparkly, clean resin. And it's really important to give your models a 2-wash wash, if you will. Okay, so that's nice and clean. They're going to go into there afterwards. Absolutely spotlessly clean resin, and this will be step 2 of the cleaning process. Step 1 is dirty resin, which is in there, and step 2 will be nice, shiny, clean resin, and I'm going to give them a bit of a scrub in there. Now, to give them a bit of a wipe down, some people use toothbrushes. I use this, which I've got loads of these little brushes knocking around. These came free with the water washable Elegoo resin, and these are fantastic for wiping your resin down. So I'm going to use one of these. Now, as you can see, that is filthy. That is in need now, I would suggest, of a really good clean out. So the next thing I'm going to do, but not on this video, but I may very well do a video on it, is just showing you how I clean this resin out so that I can recoup and use it again. But that's for another day. What we're going to concentrate on today is this Batman in the new one. So just using the brush that I spoke about, just going to give these models a really good rub over, make sure they're spotlessly clean. Try and make sure we can empty them out from the inside as well. Really important again to get the insides clean. Now there will be a few divots on there. We're going to have to do a little bit of post-processing work on it afterwards, but at this stage we are cleaning. So get all that resin off. If you don't do this stage and give it a bit of a rub over, you'll probably find, and you may have already noticed this, you'll get little white bits, like little silvery slimy bits on your model, and that is just pure resin that's not been cleaned off properly, and we don't want that, especially in the intricate details. Okay, so everything's nice and clean now. As you can see, the model's looking really, really lovely. A couple of other little bits and pieces I just want to do. You'll see there's still some supports inside. What I tend to do is just take a little screwdriver, one of the little screwdrivers that came with one of my enders, just roll it around inside, get those supports off anywhere they are, open up the holes a little bit. Again, it just helps things flow a little freely. And it also doesn't interfere with the model fitting together. Another reason we do this is so that when I finally try to cure the inside with some little LED lights, the little LED lights can go in unhindered. There we go. Wonderful. Okay, so that's everything off. Let's just take everything out of here and dry it then. Now, to give these a little bit of a dry, what I tend to do is put a bit of tissue paper over the holes and I just give them a shake. I can still hear there's a little bit of fluid in there, and I just want to make sure I get as much of that out as I can. And I'll just dry it with a little piece of this kitchen towel. And then when I'm happy that it's nice and dry and it's nice and clean, it goes back on for curing. Now there's two ways to cure them. There's probably more than two ways to cure them, but there's two ways that I use to cure them. The first way that I use is this, which is the Mercury Wash and Go station. It's the Mercury Plus, and what you can do with this is literally just pile them on there, making sure, of course, when you pile them on there that they can actually see the light, so don't put them on top of each other. Pop the lid on, select the UV function, give it maybe, let's say 2.5 minutes, and go. And that's one way of curing them. There's another way that I use, which I'll show you now, and this is just using a UV light. You can see I've got a UV light that just sits over at the back in the darkness over there, so I can take my models and literally just lay them down in the UV light. So when that's finished, we'll turn the models over. And we'll give them another couple of minutes onto the side. And with the UV light that I'm using here, after a couple of minutes, turn the models over, and they get another coating of wonderful UV goodness on their backs. When I'm happy that they've had a nice cure all over, out they come. And that's the first step done. Something else you can use if you want to is one of these UV lights. Now these are great for just shining inside to try to make sure you cure a little bit of what it can see. That's one thing we can do. Now this is not ideal, but it will certainly just cure anything in its visual sort of aspect. Anything it can see in there, it will start to cure, and it may just help a little bit on the inside from giving you any problems later on, like splitting. Cleaning them is really important, and trying to cure the inside as best you can is also really important. And I know it's difficult, but it's important to do. Another way of doing it is to use these tiny LED UV lights, set them up into a little bit of a gadget that you've seen me probably use before, feed them inside and use a 9-volt battery, and that will cure the inside as well. So you saw me press print on the next batch of Batman bits and pieces, and here they are in G2 box for your perusal, and they will be coming off the printer really soon. So we've showed you the creation of them in G2 box and how they went into the printer, how they came out the printer, how we've cleaned them and how we've cured them. The next step of the process will be the preparation for painting and the painting process. And as you can see here, the next step of the printing process is done, and I'm going to start all that cleaning process again and put another batch on. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen today. Please subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you keep an eye out for the follow-up videos where you can watch the whole of the painting process. If you've got any comments, if you've got any thoughts, pop it in the little space that YouTube allows you to pop those thoughts in. Like the video, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you really, really soon next time on Greedy 3D.